Welcome to Around the Valley. Today is October 16th, 2012. We have two special guests with us today. We have Chin-Ho Liao, the founding president of the San Gabriel United Chinese Association, who's going to talk to us about a festival coming up in San Gabriel. And we also have Thomas Wong, who's running for the San Gabriel Valley Water District. As always, I'm Sean Tellis with Mid-Valley News. We have Art Landing with Rosemead Kiwanis and Lucia Flores with Baldwin Park Rosemead Education, as well as her Rock and Rollist show here on Mid-Valley Radio. Welcome, you guys. Let's start talking. Chin-Ho, what is going on?
Oh, hi. Good morning. I'm the founding president of San Gabriel United Chinese Association, and the mission is to, of course, promote the cultures and also bring the gaps of different ethnic groups. And I've been doing that for past 20-some years because I'm a retired engineer and I have lots of time to serve our community. And through this organization, I help our new immigrants and also the Asian business because they cannot join the Chamber of Commerce because of the language barrier and the cultural difference. So I organize this association, and we all join our Chamber of Commerce. So make our business people more, I would say, more easy to access to different ethnic groups and also make our city more vibrant.
I think that's great. Art, what are you going to say?
I was just wondering, you say you've been at this for 20 years, but I don't think the association has been around that long. When did it start?
Oh, you're right. I just started this year. But I've been involved with the community as a Rotarian, as a hospital board member, as a school educational foundation board member, and Asian Youth Center. You name it, I'm on it.
You serve on the board with Dr. Lin?
No. I was on the board of CHW, and it was non-profit before. And
CHW, for the benefit of our listeners, is what?
CHW stands for California Catholic Healthcare West, and they own about 45 hospitals throughout the United States. And it's nonprofit, and that's why I was on the board. But because every year we're losing so much money, and they decide to sell it to the profit organization, and that is the HMC group that bought the hospital.
Well, we're going to talk about a specific festival you have coming up in San Gabriel that you're involved in. But before we do, let's swing the conversation over to Thomas Wong. I want to talk a little bit about water districts because I think some people don't know what water districts are. Do you want to just start with that?
Sure, and just thank you for having me today. It's good to be up early, just talking with you guys and talking about the water district. My name is Thomas. I'm running for the water district, the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, running to represent the city of Monterey Park. And as I've gone around and talked to people in the last few years being involved in environmental issues in the community, most people aren't aware that this water district or water districts exists to help serve them and serve the community. Even though in our community specifically, the San Gabriel Water District has been in existence since 1959. People don't remember voting for their board members. People don't remember what the water district does in their community or don't know. And so that's, I think, something that's going to be changing and has to change as things move forward, especially as water becomes more and more expensive.
Let me tell you what my understanding of water districts are, and you can tell me where I'm wrong. So the way I see water districts is, city councils obviously run the city, right? The streets, the sewers. School boards run kind of schools as if they're cities, right? They're in charge of that land. And then the third part, as I see it, is water districts who are kind of in charge of the water, who have to work with those other entities. Is that true?
To a certain extent, it is. The water districts depends on. Each specific water district has their own specific role, but the world of delivering water is very, very convoluted. It's somewhat similar to school districts in that school districts have authority over their own school districts and their own schools, but the state sets regulations, federal government sets regulations for education, and the county government also sets regulations for education. Similar to water agencies, the water district, the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District itself, and most other water districts are importers of water to their own communities, the member communities. Most cities have either their direct providers of water are either the city utility, which is the public utility, or they'll have private water companies that provide water directly to residents and businesses. Where the water districts come in, they're the ones that import water, because in Southern California particularly, we use more water than we actually get in rain. We have to import water from outside of our region for us to use to make up that gap. And so that's where the water district's role mainly comes in. They import water from other areas, and the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District itself imports water from Northern California for us to use here in the San Gabriel Basin.
Do you also import water from the Colorado River in addition to Northern California?
No, the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District itself only imports water from Northern California.
Okay, this is pretty interesting learning about the water district, because like other residents, I wasn't sure what exactly it does, but do you guys get involved with the schools or anything like that to like educate them about the water district or conserving water or anything like that?
I think water districts, some do. I think a good number actually do some like small things. They'll have, like my water district I'm running for has an H2L program, and they'll have like a costume guy go around and talk to kids and stuff like that. And they'll do small programs, but I think they need to be they need to do more. And I think they have resources to really partner with the school districts and the cities and nonprofits, service clubs, and things like that in our community to really up that game. They need to be much more engaged, I think, with our communities, especially as school districts are struggling with in terms of resources. Teachers want to bring the outdoors into their classroom. They want to bring experiential kind of lessons to their kids. I think looking for just a couple $100 sometimes just for small projects, and the school district doesn't have that money, and I think the water district can really partner with the schools to do something like that.
Okay.
The San Gabriel Valley Water District, now you're going to be representing Monterey Park. What is the total area that district includes?
So yeah, the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District is relatively small. It covers 4 cities: the city of Monterey Park, Alhambra, Sierra Madre, and Azusa.
Those seem kind of spread apart.
It's very, very strange. And if you go back kind of into the history, the way that all the water districts and the water infrastructure kind of laid out even at some points it didn't really make sense. But it would have made sense back then. But given how our communities have grown and how the region has kind of played out in terms of its physical layout, a lot of these things in terms of the water and water infrastructure don't really make sense. And probably if we had done it with a clean slate now, it wouldn't look like it does now.
Yeah. Art and I are big history buffs, and sometimes we get off on history tangents. But I am going to start one, and hopefully it doesn't take us off topic. But I read this article about San Gabriel in 1860, and how this woman was remembering. She was one of the first. I forget which country she was from, but obviously not Spain and not Native American. And she came to San Gabriel for the first time, and they lived among the mission and all that. And her father eventually moved because so many people came. Every time they would go to sleep, somebody would be trying to rechannel the river, and he'd have to go out there with a gun, and because it's life or death. If somebody upstream from you is making the water go in a different direction when it's supposed to be going by your crops or your house or whatever it is. So it's interesting to think about our own cities in that time, and when you think about it, I always tell people Southern California, especially LA, it's a desert really. We had certain areas that were more flush because of our rivers, but really we're a desert. And when you look at the old landscaping before we could just spray water anywhere we want, it reflected that. And nowadays, even just the green lawns you drive by, they're not really sustainable. But that's a whole nother topic, I feel like. Let's take a break, and we're going to talk more with our 2 guests, Chin Ho Liao, the president and the founding president of the San Gabriel United Chinese Association, and Thomas Wong, who's running for the San Gabriel Valley Water District. And we'll be right back.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah?
You remember that ball game we went to a couple years ago?
Sure.
And how you didn't have enough cash for 2 hot dogs, so you walked with me on your shoulders until we found an ATM? And then when we got back to our seats, we never saw the hot dog guy again.
Well, I don't remember all that.
Yeah, that was an awesome game.
You never know which moments will be the ones they'll remember forever. So take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Around the Valley. I'm Lucia Flores here with Chantelis and Art Landing, and we have 2 special guests with us today here on Around the Valley. We have Chin Ho Liao, from the founding president of the San Gabriel United Chinese Association, and Thomas Wong from running for the San Gabriel Valley Water District. So, Mr. Liao, would you like to tell us a little bit more about this Midsummer Festival that you're having?
Okay, it's a mid-autumn, festival. And for instance, the city of San Marino been doing that for, I think it's almost 30 years.
Really?
Yeah, and Temple City started doing this year. They have a big festival at in front of City Hall. And also Arcadia, at the Santa Anita racetrack, they attract, 100,000 people. Wow. So it's big in Asian countries. However, in San Gabriel, this is the first time we're doing it. And since there are about, I would say, 64% of populations are Asian in San Gabriel, so I think it's about time we start celebrate our own heritage.
So what kind of stuff will happen if we go to? Why should we go to this festival?
It will be a fun and interesting evening because, this year we kind of try it out, and we have about 250 seats available. And we're going to have a really nice Chinese banquet. And it's 10 courses of gourmet Chinese food. And also we have excellent entertainments. I have 20 exciting entertainers coming. I have opera singers. I have Broadway stars. I have Bollywood dancer and Zumba dancer and also flamenco dancers. So you name it, we got all kinds of different culture represented in this event.
Chin, are you sure your name isn't P.T. Barnum? That sounds great. And the event's happening October 28th at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
And if somebody wants to get tickets, or what do they do?
Yeah, just give me a call. I don't mind giving out my phone number, 626-429-6763.
Okay, great, and we'll put that on the website as well,
sure.
or your email, or whatever you prefer.
You.
This restaurant you're having it at, Mission 261 restaurant, that's
yes.
the one in the Mission District in San Gabriel,
that's
right? It used to be like a cowboy place, and now it's like a dim sum place.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's true.
It's delicious.
Yes.
It really is a great place.
Yeah.
And some people don't know that restaurant has a really old vine.
Yeah.
Right? What do you know about that vine?
I heard it's over 300 years old and still growing, And San Gabriel has history way back, because the Father Sarah came to California and he built 21 missions, and San Gabriel was the fourth one. And actually that was the richest mission in the whole, 21 missions.
I believe it was the political capital from San Bernardino to Santa Monica at one time.
That's right. And also because I guess maybe because we had so many grapevines and produced not for edible grapes, but for making wines.
Right.
And we sell wines all over California. That's why the San Gabriel mission was one of the richest missions.
Yeah, I think one of the ties actually between our two guests is water itself, because the reason I think we have such fertile soil in the San Gabriel Valley has to do with our rivers, and because that's how we could grow so much food here versus the other missions, is our soil was so, amazing, And then there's actually really wonderful photos. Maybe I'll post some online. Like we used to have like some kind of festival in San Gabriel that had to do with grapes, and I've seen 1920s women dressed up with these kind of grape outfits, trying to look beautiful, and it might be fun to bring back some kind of grape festival in San Gabriel, because people forget that our wine was world famous, or at least famous within the United States.
Well, Mr. Rose was a wine producer, the man who started the city of Rosemead, and he was using some of the original vines that had been brought in by the various fathers of the Catholic Church to do that.
The Lacey Park right now in San Marino, it was a lake before.
Right.
So we shipped the water from San Marino, the Wilson Lake, and using
Lake Avenue in
aqueducts.
Pasadena got its name.
That's it.
I
That's
never knew
it.
that.
Yeah, and shipped all the way to San Gabriel Mission. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, let's go back to this festival. What is Mid-Autumn Festival?
Mid-Autumn Festival. This is goes back like I would say 3,000 years ago, and there's always a story about the moon, and this I would say empress. She is so vain. She's beautiful, but she wants to live forever, and it's a. I think it's a beautiful story. At the end, she flew all the way to the moon. But if you look at the moon nowadays, especially around the end of September, when it was full moon, you can see her, with a telescope. But also there's traditions. You heard of moon cakes, right? You go to Chinese market at this time, and they have all kinds of moon cakes, and it's like worship her. But also you have to have a fruit. It's called pomelo. Pomelo is a huge grapefruit, but it's sweet. It's not tart. Grapefruit is always sour and tart, but pomelo is juicy and sweet. So it's a tradition, and nowadays people just go to the like countryside and have barbecue, and it's a family event. So yeah, and we like to keep that tradition.
That's really nice because I'm learning all this. I never knew this about like Chinese culture or anything like that. So it's pretty interesting to hear, from other cultures the types of things that they celebrate.
Right.
And how you guys celebrate. And I love mooncakes. They're really good.
One of the things I always like to do is to find comparisons or bridges. And I've read a lot of funny articles that talk about mooncakes and how they're kind of like fruit cakes in European culture, that there's this historic tradition, or there's this tradition of bringing fruitcakes to people for Christmas, but nobody really wants them, nobody really likes them, but you still do it every year. Is that true with mooncakes? People don't really like the way they taste?
Well, actually, no. People still eating them, and because it's high calories, and people are on diet all the time, so you cannot eat a whole mooncake. It's 1,000 calories right there, and so it's I guess they still love it, but one of the reason is because the prices have gone up so high. Each mooncake costs about $10. Some of them.
We can jump back to this festival in a bit, but I wanted to just mention, because I happen to know you're very involved in the community, and you kind of briefly went over that at the beginning, but you are a San Gabriel Rotarian, right. Past president, right? And you grew the club when you were there?
That's right.
From what to what?
Well, actually, I doubled the size, and it never happened in, I would say, in our district. Because most of the clubs, the memberships, are kind of declining, and San Gabriel is about the same way. Even though it was a kind of medium-sized club, but when I was the president, I took it over. I invite every person I met on the street.
Yeah.
I ask them if they're interested in finding out what's Rotarian doing, and so
I think that's great.
How I increase the membership.
And hopefully you don't have a fight with Art, because he is the recruiting master for Rosemead Kiwanis. But we'll let that happen outside the studio. I also wanted to mention Seth.
I do not fight with anybody. I want to recruit him.
You guys can recruit each other. But let's talk about SEF. You're also involved in SEF, which is the San Gabriel Education Foundation.
That's right.
And for people who don't know, pretty much every city has these foundations that help supplement.
That's right.
Financial gaps.
Yes.
Right? So do you want to tell us a little bit about SEF?
Sure. Yeah, this year we raised about $127,000 and donated to the school district. And so what we do with this money is we hire a music teacher. Teaching at the all 5 elementary schools, and also we have an art teacher and also a drama teacher at the Jefferson Middle School. And so this is the money that you use for I would say not regular curriculum classes.
And then are you a member of the CACA, San Gabriel Valley chapter?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, and for those who don't know, that's the Chinese American Citizens Alliance,
right.
which works to it's very much like a Rotary Club almost, but it works to get basically Asian Americans to be treated the same as everyone else. That's kind of their goal, from what I understand. Is that true?
Yes.
And you also like to sing.
I love to sing. I do tap dance. I do flamenco. I do Zumba now. So, after this Mid-Autumn Festival, my goal is to have a big Zumba party. I love to invite, I would say, 600 women or men like to work out, and so I have to find a venue for that. Maybe San Gabriel Hilton.
Zumba Guinness Book of World Records. You can be a part of that. That would be funny.
Yeah.
And
for the benefit of those of us who are in the geriatrics set, what is Zumba?
That's a very good question. From what I understand, Zumba it's an aerobic exercise that kind of mixes Latin dancing and aerobics, basically, right?
And it's fun. Because why is fun? Because the music, the rhythm, and once you hear it, you just want to move.
Are you also involved in the YMCA?
Yes, I was on the YMCA board, but also executive board. But since I started this organization, and so I got too many. Wearing too many hats. But there's an event coming up every year. We have about before, I would say a couple of days before Halloween, we have this. It's called Celebrity Waiters Luncheon. And so we have city mayors or city council member or fire chief, police chief, and they all dress in costumes, work as waiters or servers, and we invite friends to come to the luncheon. It is a fun way to raise money for YMCA.
And the Asian Youth Center, are you involved with them?
Yes, and Asian Youth Center, this is the 23rd year celebration of Asian Youth Center. The main thing is it's called the Gang Intervention Program. So we helped Asians and Hispanic teenagers. They got into troubles, and the court appointed them, the probate officers, and tell them to come to our center and for counseling and guidance. And so we've
started. Had Roy Roselle from that group.
Yes, yeah.
He, by the way, is now a Kwanian.
Oh, really?
One of the ones we recruited.
Oh, I tried to invite him to join Rotary Club, and he
it's going down.
Just betrayed me.
It's going down. Actually, we had Michelle Fearage. That's who we had. Yeah.
Michelle helped me.
Okay, but he's still a good friend of mine. And also we have the after school program. We have the elementary school students that came every day. And it's not only coming to San Gabriel Asian Youth Centers. We can accommodate about, I'll say, 200 students at our center, but also we have classes in downtown Los Angeles and even Palmdale area, because it's all part of a county program.
That's great. Lucia, do you want to get in on here?
Yeah, I was just listening to all of these programs that you're involved in, and it's really great because, like, how we talk about on Around the Valley, it's really good to be involved in the community and provide, services for the community. And I really liked how you said about that you guys get involved with, like, the gang prevention, and then you, I forgot which program it was, but you were saying that you have for classes, like, after school classes, like, for performing arts or creative arts, and that's really important for, for the kids to be able to express themselves in a different way. Like, so it's really nice that that you're involved with all of this community thing, because community is really important.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it, and it's all volunteer. And as long as you see those kids with smiling faces, happy faces, you're satisfied.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, the Kiwanis Club sponsors the key clubs in the various schools, Kiwanis Educated Youth, and we do an awful lot with the Rosemead High School program in our club, but in San Gabriel, where you come from, and also in Temple City, they have some very active key clubs, totaling, I think, membership about about 600, I guess, between them all.
Mm-hmm.
Does the organization you work with interface with those in the
Yes,
youth activities?
actually the Rotary Club, we have high school students join the Interact. It's called Interact Club.
Right, that's over at Alhambra, right?
The Gabarino High School in San Gabriel is the world's largest Interact Club. We have about 500 students, join every year, and actually the number is keep growing, and these students amazing because almost every other weekend they have a different community service project, and they just enjoyed it so much. For instance, last weekend they went up to the mountain to plant the watershed to plant trees. To preserve the soil. So every weekend they do something for our community. So I said, oh, wow, these kids are wonderful.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Well, people are always hearing about all the problems that kids have.
Yeah.
And yet with the Interact group, with the Key Club,
Right.
the Lions Club also
Right.
has a group, and some of the schools are not as active as you and we are. The YMCA has Tri-Y.
That's right.
These are all various groups of scouts as well.
Right.
There are hundreds and hundreds of our kids that are involved in these various programs, whether it be Scouting, Key Club, Interact, whatever. And I think it's important that we remember what all these kids are doing that do not create problems. And I think easily, when you put them all together, it's at least a third of the student body, if not more.
That's right. That's true. That's true.
That's great, Art. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk to Thomas Wong, who's running for San Gabriel Valley Water District, and we're going to continue chatting with Chin-Ho Liao, the founding president of the San Gabriel United Chinese Association, and his Mid-Autumn Festival coming up October 18th. And we'll be right back on Around the Valley.
City of Arcadia by Eugene R. Webb. City of Arcadia is where you want to be, not only to live, but to go and see. It's a beautiful city that's alive and well. The Methodist Hospital will help to keep you well. There's a beauty at Santa Anita Racetrack, and the horses keep us coming back. The Arboretum is really a wonderful sight to see. The city of Arcadia has a lot of good history. There's a lot of things going on that's worth knowing, such as the great teams of lawn bowling. Then there's the terrific Arcadia Bridge Center that welcomes everyone regardless of gender. In Arcadia, there's a huge mall to go and shop, with benches all around should you want to drop. A food center with foods of all different kinds. Just being and seeing will blow your mind. Arcadia is a wonderful city filled with love, and it's a people that it's always thinking of. It's also known as a city with a big heart, and the senior citizen service is a great big part. It's truly the city I have ever heard, with the peacock, where the peacocks can freely run around like no other bird. The females are dreary and dull, looking as can be. The male peacocks are colorful and pretty to see. Just wanted to share one of the cities in San Gabriel Valley. Thank you.
We're back on KMVR with our guests. We have Thomas Wong and Chin-Ho Liao, and they've been talking to us about the water problems of the Southern California, and specifically San Gabriel Valley area, and about the upcoming festival that Mr. Liao has coming for his community. I would like to ask you, Thomas, I think you know the water has been a history for generations in this community, and I've sort of grown up with it. Could you give us a little bit of a brief overview of how your particular district fits into the entire matrix of all the overlying and competing water districts that are involved here with the delivery system in Southern California?
Well, that's a very complicated question. I'll do my best to try to simplify that. The San Gabriel Valley, a lot of the water districts here exist to import water from other areas outside of the region for us to use here. I think was pointed out earlier in the program. We basically, Los Angeles, Southern California is basically a desert where we don't get as much rain as we use in terms of water. You drive around any street, and unless there are people that are watering it every day, I mean, that's kind of the natural environment that we're in terms of water. We're a very arid region. There's not a lot of trees. Our urban forest isn't very developed, and that's for a reason, because we don't have the kind of precipitation and the rainfall, the natural rainfall that some other more lush regions do. Despite that, we have 10 million people in LA County. San Gabriel Valley has 1.5 to 2 million people. We need water. We have to use water. We use water to live. Water and air are probably the two. Water, air, and food are the three necessary components to actually living in this area, and water is a huge component. And we take it for granted. But the water districts were created decades ago to make sure that we had access to the water that we need to develop, and that it's a big part of the story of the San Gabriel Valley that's often kind of ignored, and we take it for granted. Often we just turn on the tap and expect water to come out, and if it doesn't, we get very, very upset.
I believe there are also legal requirements where you have to allocate a certain portion of your rainfall to the cities that are to the south of us to keep their water table up, and you also are required to comply with both state and federal requirements. So it's quite a matrix.
Yeah, it's a very complicated delivery system, and most people just turn on the tap, expect water to come out, don't know all the complexities that happen in terms of which district it goes through, or which organizations the water has to go through, and all the administrative work that goes through it. And then on top of that, all the cleanup that happens, the infrastructure that has been built over the past few decades, and that is going to be replaced and maintained, and needs to be maintained over the next generation.
Now, in representing Monterey Park, what would you be striving to do if you were to be elected?
Well, just about 2 weeks ago, the city of Monterey Park actually, the council was presented a study for their water infrastructure, for our water infrastructure and our water rates. And the recommendation there were actually 3 recommendations. The lowest recommendation for water rates was at least doubling our water rates in the next year. At least doubling. That's
and the
more than doubling.
justification for that would be?
Infrastructure. A lot of the pipes that were put in to deliver water were put in when the houses were built. And if you drive around Monterey Park, there are houses from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, more often than not. And even some of the newer construction from the 70s and 80s, those pipes are getting to 40, 50 years old already, and they have to be replaced. The average lifespan for the pipe that was put in is about 50 years. And so a lot of our water infrastructure locally has to be maintained and replaced. A lot of it's breaking. You hear about water main breaks all the time. You see them on the streets. That's because our local water infrastructure is deteriorating, and we haven't made the investments that we need to make to continue that. And now it's coming time to pay those.
And your water district is responsible for taking care of those transmission lines?
No, locally, the water utility is responsible for all the local pipes, so the city itself is. But I think the water district needs to be a better partner with the city and with the community, particularly with the city to help them make sure that they have the resource they need. And the water district in the past has made low and zero interest loans to the city to help with some infrastructure and with some cleanup. But also more importantly, and I think the water district needs to be much more aggressive, especially as water rates go up like this. The water district has a role to play to help residents and businesses and ratepayers really push for water conservation, help them really learn and make the investments on their own lawns, their own homes, to really save water, use more water more efficiently in their homes, on their lawns. Start to changing out some of their landscaping, their water, the water-intensive uses of on their lawns and in their homes, to start to change some of their behaviors. And I think the water bills that they're going to start to get are going to help do that. But the water districts, I think, need to be there with the education and helping them know, this is what I can do to cut my water bill in half.
Maybe you said you were interested in working with the schools and whatever as well.
Yeah, and I think it starts early. That education starts early. It's very hard, I think, to change habits, especially as we get older. We kind of get set in our ways. But I think when we start with students, with children, it's easier to kind of start to instill some of those behaviors into that awareness about just really being more conservation-minded, more sustainability-minded, and more environmentally conscious, and that needs to start with younger students.
Are there opportunities in Monterey Park to emulate what Rosemead and the Garvey School District have been doing with the Whittier Narrows project, where they've actually been recycling water from the San Gabriel River and whatever to use for irrigation? Can you do that in Monterey Park? Is that a practical option?
It is practical. It's a little bit further off for us in the San Gabriel Valley Water District because for 20 years now or so, the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, their water rates, specifically their wholesale rates, have been the lowest in the region, and they haven't risen. And because of that, as water becomes more and more expensive as other water districts, you compare the San Gabriel Valley Water District rates to some of our neighboring district rates, they are 3 to 4 times more expensive than our wholesale rates. And so it's for that reason, the economic reason, that we haven't really been able to push as aggressively for recycled water and those other types of projects, because our water is still so cheap. And recycled water may be coming down in price as infrastructure is put in place, but until those two kind of prices really start to meet, it's really not economically feasible and not responsible of us in our use of taxpayer money when we have a cheaper option to go with something else.
What is your background? Because obviously you're very knowledgeable in this area. You've obviously had some experience. Would you share with us your background as a candidate to be able to talk about this so glibly?
Well, sure. The last 3 years now, actually, I've been on the city's environmental commission. The last 2 almost, I've been have the privilege of serving as its chair. We've been able to lead efforts to really help educate not only ourselves but our community, and really bring some new energy in our community for environmental issues, and to show that our community leaders and the community that this is something that really does matter and that it impacts us. And water, I think, and the reason I'm running is because water is one of the most paramount issues, I think, going forward for the next generation, and yet is often ignored. And most people don't understand what's going on, don't understand the challenges that are ahead. And until people really get their bills and see that it's going up or water stops flowing, people really don't care. I mean, we've taken water for granted, and you look at our water rates, just current water rates in Monterey Park provided by the city of Monterey Park. For 1 gallon of water, the basic cost is less than 1/5 of 1 cent. I mean, for water to be that cheap, no wonder why we waste it. It's just so cheap right now.
You feel Monterey Park then wastes more water than the average community around here?
I don't know if we waste more water than anyone else, but I think as a region in a lot of Southern California, we tend to waste water. We've grown up in this culture where green lawns are, in San Marino, green lawns are required.
Blue. Has to be blue.
San Marino has its own artesian wells, too.
Yeah. We've come up with this culture where you have to have fresh-cut green grass, and you don't like brown spots on your lawn. We don't like rocks on our lawn, because we want the green, we want the lushness, but that's just not the reality of our region. And I think we need to start to come to an understanding of that and be more cognizant of moving forward how we can best use our resources, especially the resources that we really need: water, air, and food.
Oh, and then I was going to ask you, I know that you say that you guys are involved with educating young children about water conservation and things like that. Do you guys offer any workshops, like for any adults in the community, to educate them more about conserving the water?
As of now, the water district doesn't, and I think that's something that's also important. I think partnering with although the adult education programs have been cut dramatically in our area, but partnering with people like or schools like East LA College and some of the adult education programs that still exist, working through the PTAs to really get that education out, not only to the kids, but obviously to the people that are actually making these decisions in terms of their lawns and water efficient appliances in their houses. So making sure that we get that information and that education out to adults. And what that requires is not only a water district that will put resources in to do that, but a board member who will go out and make those relationships with organizations like the Chambers of Commerce, local businesses, and other organizations in the community like the service clubs, to really just make those relationships and help get that information out.
And I'm glad you brought that up because Art had asked during the break, where's the person you're competing against? And it's a legitimate question. It'd be fair to have both of you here. But as we're all so busy, I'm always running around places in the city, and I've actually run into you twice in the community, and that's how you're here. It's not that I actively said, oh, let's support this candidate. I was having dim sum in Monterey Park, and then I saw a bunch of kids cleaning up, actually repainting and picking up trash, and I said, what is this? I walked over there, and that's where I met you because of the Environmental Commission that you were a part of in Monterey Park. And then later I was at a CACA meeting invited by Chin Ho, actually, ironically enough, who happens to be joining us. And that's also where I met you. You were speaking to that community group. So, the person you're running against, nothing against them. This isn't an endorsement for you. But I have met you twice in the community, so I know it's not just lip service because you've already been doing it and you have been doing it. I wanted to take a step back, though, and just kind of wrap our heads around water. I have a paper in front of me, and maybe I'll try to put it online, but it was given to me by somebody who works in water because I'm constantly trying to understand how water works. It's such a complicated system. Just to give people an example of federal, state, county, regional, and local examples of how water goes. At the federal level, you have the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Army Corps of Engineers. At the state level, you have Regional Water Control Board, and you have Department of Health Services. At a county level, you have Sanitation Districts of Los Angeles County and Los Angeles County of Department of Public Works. At a regional level, you have the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, and below that, you have the San Gabriel Basin Water Control, and it goes on and on. And for example, I heard San Gabriel has multiple water districts in itself, 6 or 7, right? Do you know about that, or Chin? Do you know about that?
Yeah, several.
Yeah, and I think they're water. Some of them are private water companies that provide water directly. Because I don't know if the city has its own water utility.
The city has its own.
Yeah, so let's talk about that too. What's the difference? Does that just mean somebody has a big hole with water that comes out and they just sell it?
It depends. When the communities were established, right, water rights were given out in terms of being able to pump from our water basin and be able to sell that water.
What is a water basin?
So we're the San Gabriel Valley. And the land we sit on and we stand on and things like that, and then we live on. Below us, obviously, it's like a bowl of sand, and you put water in it. It kind of sucks up the water up at the bottom. It doesn't just stay on top, similar to the San Gabriel Valley. And so we're sitting on a lot of sediment and rock and stuff like that. When it rains and as it comes down from the mountains, some of that water percolates down into the water basin, so that big bowl. And so that's basically, it's essentially a reservoir for us to use and to pump out when we need water. And water rights in terms of pumping were established many, many decades ago. Each city kind of had the ability or had the right to pump out a certain amount of water, a certain percent or part of the water basin every year. And that's allocated by the water master, which is an arm of the courts. And so they determine what's the safe level for us, what level we have to keep the water level at the water basin at. And so if we get a lot of rain, then we'll be able to pump out more water. But if we don't get enough rain, then he tells us, or the water master tells the cities, or whoever the pumping people are, whoever have pumping rights, then the safe amount of water that you can take out. And so that's allocated. The allocations are given out yearly, depending on how much rain essentially we get. And so when we don't have enough rain, obviously, which is most years, that's where the water districts come in. They'll help replenish that water. We'll take out more water than we're allowed to, but we have to put water back in, and that's where the water districts come in. They import water from outside of the region, from where there's more rain. They bring it down here, and they put it into the basin for us to make up for the amount that we took out that was too much.
And a big part of that is an aqueduct, right?
Yeah, the California aqueduct. There are actually several aqueducts that come out from the different areas. For the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, we get we import water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Bay Delta. So the California Aqueduct, the state water project, which was built in the early 60s, brings water down from that area to us here to use in the basin.
One element of this that I think needs to be brought out, that the reason they have these limitations is that they have to keep the water, I believe, at a certain level to prevent seawater from coming into the water tables and problems to the cities that are to the south of us. And those cities, by lawsuit, many decades ago, established that these levels had to be there to protect their environment. And we have to be concerned about that in addition to our own needs, so that's another factor.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors in terms of water quality, and just making sure we have enough supply for us here locally. In terms of our water imports from Northern California, I mean, and in terms of infrastructure as well, the California Aqueduct was built right in the 60s. That thing is over 50 years old. And the Bay Delta itself, the levees there, we hear a lot about the Bay Delta Conservation Plan and things to protect and enhance our water supply from up there. All of this infrastructure needs to be replaced. Not even a major earthquake, a relatively major earthquake could happen and just sever our supply completely from Northern California, and we'd be in trouble here. And so things like the water bond that are coming up, hopefully coming up again on the ballot, and water infrastructure investments statewide and regionally and also locally that are going to have to be made in the next few years. These are decisions that voters and taxpayers are going to have to make in the coming years. And so that's why I think water education and awareness is so important. We have to know what the problems are. Otherwise, when it comes time to pay for it, if people haven't heard about this as a problem, they're not gonna take out of their pocket and fork it over to help pay for these problems.
Unfortunately, California's bonding ability, due to the tremendous amount of bonds that are already out there, the budgetary shortfalls, the ability of California to issue bonds for anything is going to be impaired for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, these are definitely large topics. We're going to take a break and think about it, and we'll come back and we'll address these issues. Again, we have Liao, the founding president of the San Gabriel Unified Chinese Association, and you were just listening to Thomas Wong, who's running for San Gabriel Valley Water District. And you're listening to Around the Valley, and we'll be right back.
Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone, but you're not alone. At IAVA.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community, get the resources you need, and connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. IAVA.org. We've got your back.
Welcome back to Around the Valley. I'm Lucia Flores here with Chantelis and Art Landing. We are talking with our special guest, Liao from the San Gabriel United Chinese Association, and Thomas Wong from the running for the San Gabriel Valley Water District.
So what we like to do sometimes in our last segment is just talk about things that are happening in the San Gabriel Valley. I know a few interesting things that are going down. We have the 626 night market that's taking place at the Santa Anita racetrack. We have a veteran stand down that's taking place at the beginning of November, I believe, at Whittier Narrows for veterans to come in 3 days to get, help in a lot of different regions. We have the Day of the Dead happening in El Monte that's coming up. That's going to be great. It's the 3rd annual Aztec Dancers and all sorts of things. And there's one more event. Oh, the Pumpkin Festival at Cal Poly Pomona. And if you've never gone, it's happening this weekend, and they put 50,000 pumpkins out there. Cal Poly Pomona is the agricultural college, and so they grow lots of different things. And not all these pumpkins are grown in this lawn, but they're grown by Cal Poly Pomona students. And there's also an insect fair connected to that for a few dollars. You can see cockroach races and Madagascar hissing cockroach is the classy kind, okay? And lots of different insect jewelry. So those are my things I know are going on, and that's where I'll be. What about you, Lucia?
That's funny. Well, the El Monte Rosemead Adult School is having their resource fair soon. It'll be on the 24th of this month, and we will be having health screenings if you want to check your glucose levels, flu shots, and that'll be on the 24th of October. I believe it's from 9 to 1, and that'll be at the El Monte Rosemead Adult School. If anyone wants the address, it's 10807 Ramona Boulevard here in El Monte, and it's right on the corner of Lexington Avenue and Ramona Boulevard.
Okay, coming up at the end of the month on Saturday, October 27th and Sunday, October 28th, we have back-to-back health fairs. The one on the 27th being sponsored by the Rosemead Educational Foundation, and it is going to be over at the Shuey Elementary School at 8472 East Wells Street. They're going to be having a pancake breakfast, resource booths, run walk against drugs, and the registration is at 7:30 for the run walk. Pancakes will start to be served at 8:30. That runs until 12:30. It's only going to cost you $2 to get a pancake breakfast. Well worth getting into that. Fitness Day and Health Fair the next day for the Asia Pacific community being put on by the Joya Kung Fu of the city of Rosemead. That is going to be at the Garvey Community Center, 9108 Garvey Avenue. So they're going to be having various things there, including a student artwork contest that is in progress at the library. Then on November the 12th rather, that's the big one, that is going to be the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast at the Garvey Community Center beginning at 8:30 in the morning. We're going to have Mayor Sandra Armenta. We're going to have outside speakers and entertainers, a lot of music, and a very good breakfast. That's only going to be $5. That involves all of the spiritual organizations in Rosemead, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever. And we're certainly hoping to have a good turnout for that. Tickets can be obtained. That's going to be on November the 12th, which is Monday. That's Veterans Day. And we're going to have pictures of veterans from Rosemead up on a photo screen and things of that type. And it's going to be a very, very good activity. Tickets can be obtained at the Chamber of Commerce office on Muscatel, or you can call our office at 626-292-6550. We'll manage to get it to you. A number of the churches in Rosemead also have them. There are only about 40 tickets left, by the way.
Whoa,
they are going fast.
I better hurry.
Art always has Rosemead events coming out of his ears. I love it.
Well, I also happen to have the script here for
it's great.
for our website.
And if people want more, they can go to Rosemead-Kiwanis.org.
Rosemead-Kiwanis.org has the complete list, plus a lot more that I've been reading from. I'm just going for the hard copy, but this is up on the website.
No, I think that's great. What about our two guests? Do you guys have any events coming up?
Two events coming up. One event is the 23rd annual dinner of Asian Youth Center, and this Wednesday night. Let's see, at the Chinese restaurant. It's called New Capital Seafood at the San Gabriel Square.
Yeah, and that's
it's on
the
a
17th.
corner. Yeah, it's on a corner of Del Mar and Valley Boulevard. It's on the fourth floor. It's a huge Chinese restaurant, and of course, always have at least 8 courses of a scrumptious Chinese banquet. And this year we honor Congressman Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff got us a grant, and so we can afford to buy another office nearby Asian Youth Center.
Oh, that's great.
And he did, a great job for our center. So
and what's your second event?
And second event is the Mission Play. And this is the October 25th, and it's a fundraiser for Mission Play because next year we're celebrating the centennial of San Gabriel, and so we'd like to reenact the Mission Play that was very popular at that time. And so we have sort of performers from East LA, and they're going to perform on stage, and also the guests will be on stage eating. So each person is going to cost $75, but it's for a good cause.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I actually helped make a video to promote that. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but there's a video that's floating around YouTube of the Mission Play, which was very popular play at kind of the turn of the century. And I found a lot of old photos online, and we kind of interviewed Anna Cross and Megan Morrison, who work with the Mission Playhouse in East LA Classical Theater, who are partnering for this. And I think that's a good event.
Sean, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe that someone actually retrieved some of the original costumes from almost a century ago that they've been able to use as a model, and some of them may actually be used in the play.
Yeah, they've been displaying some of the costumes. I think, documentation has kind of been an issue in probably all the San Gabriel Valley. So I think there was they brought the play back in the 50s, or maybe late 40s or 50s. So some of those costumes might be from that. Some of them actually might be from the original versions, but it was such a popular play at the turn of the century that it's hard to say. What about you?
I really just have one date I would like to announce. November 6th is election day, and just want to make sure everyone gets out to vote. Vote by mail ballots are already out, so hope that everyone will just make sure that they educate themselves on whatever issues are going on, and there are very, very many important issues on the ballot this year and this November. I want to encourage everyone to look it up and to do a little research and make sure to be turning your ballots ahead of time or on November 6th to make sure you go out to vote.
No, I think that's great. I registered people to vote this year. I registered about 300 younger people to vote, and that was an adventure. It was sometimes it was a beautiful experience, and sometimes it was like pulling teeth, but it was something I'll always remember. And I always told people, it doesn't matter how you vote, but it matters that you vote. And a lot of times people get kind of caught up in the presidential election, which is important, but they forget about all these local issues, propositions, how they can affect things like the price of water, education. Trash is a whole other issue, and that's something like water a lot of people don't think about. I know we have one of the largest landfills in all the United States in the San Gabriel Valley, and it's going to be closing very soon, and they're trying desperately to keep it open. I forget what city that is. Is it La Puente, or is it... So anyways, there's all these issues and things that you should learn about. Just by reading the propositions, the pros and cons, you can get a better feel of what's important and what's happening in your community. Thanks for joining us today on Around the Valley. This was a great conversation. Let's just go around and have everyone sign off, and you can remind us again why you're here, contact information if you want. Let's start with you, Mr. Chin-Ho.
Sure. Yeah. So, I'm so honored to be invited to this talk show. And again, my name is Chin-Ho Liao, and I'm the founding president of San Gabriel United Chinese Association. And my mission is to help everyone in the community. And the event for our San Gabriel Mid-Autumn Festival is on October 28th, and that's a Sunday evening, 6 p.m. at the Mission 261 restaurant.
The first ever.
First ever.
And just want to thank you guys for having me. Great conversation. I think there's a lot more we didn't hit on, so definitely I would love to talk to you or anyone else who might be listening more about water issues in the San Gabriel Valley and environmental issues as well. If you'd like to check me out a little bit, you can check out my website, thomaswong2012.com. You can also get in touch with me through there. But thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. One of the things I always tell people who are interested in water issues but kind of get overwhelmed when they start trying to learn is watch Chinatown.
Great movie.
If you've never seen the movie Chinatown, not only is it an excellent movie, but it deals with water issues and Los Angeles before we actually had the excess water.
Yeah, it's a great kind of showing of how water really is power.
Yeah. Go ahead.
RosemeadKiwanis.org for activities in and around Rosemead. And as the Kiwanis Information Officer for Rosemead, that's the basis for my being here on this program. KMVR is actually owned by a fellow Kiwanian from El Monte, and we're happy to be a part of the program, but we also welcome the Rotarians from San Gabriel or wherever.
I think we need some of this gang intervention, the Asian Youth Center for this Rosemead Kiwanis Rotarian.
Actually, the Asian Youth Center gets along with both groups very well.
Okay, and if anyone would like information on the El Monte Rosemead Adult School or any new classes or events that we are having at the school, you can check out www.emras.edu for more information on the school. If you want to get more information on the city of Baldwin Park, just go to www.baldwinpark.com and you can find more information there.
And I'm Sean Tellis. I work for Mid-Valley News, and we're always striving to be a true community newspaper. So if you have news, information, photos, anything you'd like to donate to the paper, we're happy to try to get it in. We live in one of the most interesting and diverse regions in maybe all of the United States, and it's sometimes hard to track down all the information. So if you want to have a community paper, send us information. And it really is an inspiration for me to have guests like this, co-hosts like you guys, because it really does show all the interesting and amazing things people are working on and trying to make our area a better place. So thank you guys very much again for coming. Thank you, Art and Lucia, for always showing up and volunteering your time. And we'll see you next week around the Valley.